don't know about you guys, but I'm just, yeah, Arsenio Hall is from here, and it's interesting. I was just listening to somebody else who, what is that guy's name? Joe Vitale, who was part of, I think, The Secret or Law of Attraction, that movie. He was talking about he was from a little town here in Ohio, and just all kind of folks are here from Ohio. And I tell you, everybody that you hear about from Ohio are now no longer here in Ohio, and for a reason, I suppose. And so I need to take heed and get hightailing it up out of here myself at some point. It's crazy. So, welcome everybody. I'm so happy to be here and happy to be able to come and talk to you about whatever is near and dear on my heart today. I'm streaming live on Ustream as well as right here in ACMI Gather. And I am not sure, but I think some people can see this over my website, which is sandrasettit.com, and who knows where else. But I'm just pleased to be here. Pleased as a pickle. Anyway, today has been a very interesting day, and last night on Tuesday nights I have a class here in Cleveland, and I always get something absolutely wonderful in class, and it kind of triggers things. And all of us, no matter who you are and what you're teaching, we know that there's really only the one of us here. And so whatever we are teaching to ourselves. I mean, we're teaching what it is that we need to learn. We have this tendency to believe that it's always about somebody else, but and I know that sometimes I do. I talk as if there is somebody else out there, and and I love it because all these folks come to show me myself more clearly and to show me places within me. So today was no different, and I'm going to share that with you guys because I love telling my business. I don't really love telling my business. It's just that I seem to trip over myself, trip over my words, and then I end up telling all this stuff as if I had some private thoughts, and I end up telling my stuff, and then I end up sharing all this stuff. And Melinda, I'm not sure if it was that was the idea that we talked about last time, but I think from lesson number 52, one of those sections in there talks about this idea of saying, you know what, we really don't have any private thoughts. We just think we do. So if I don't know if that was what we were talking about before, but if you check that out in there, yeah, we have these thoughts that we imagine are our own, but really there are no private thoughts. So before I get off into talking about all my business, and I think it was saying no. Okay, I think it was saying no private thoughts. Okay, so before I get into telling you all my business and my secrets and all that jazz, let me do what I love to do, which is recite for you the introduction of A Course in Miracles, which is found right behind the table of contents and right before the text, and it's simply a paragraph, a little big paragraph found right there, nestled in the center of those two, and it says simply on the page, introduction. And then it goes like this. It says, "This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to your awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all encompassing can have no opposites. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Say it with me, y'all. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God." Oh, isn't that just fabulous? I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like pushing the reset button on a computer or the escape key. It's like all of a sudden you remember, I remember what we are here for, so that we get to, reset. We can get back to here, and we can figure out that only love is real. We can know that this life that we're living, this moment, whatever we're going through, it's here on purpose. It's here by design, because it's here to teach us something. And so today is no different. Today is no different. Today is no different. So yesterday, let me tell you guys what happened between yesterday and today. Yesterday, I went into class, and like always, I go into class like I've got these folks in here that are coming to listen and to participate and in the conversation, whatever the conversation may be. And it's always a happy time. I mean, my class comes together, and it's almost like we come together with this like idea that, oh, we get to come in here and we get to remember to get all those severed parts, or all those separate parts, back into this one member, this one body, of which is who we are. And so we had, it was a small class yesterday, but it was a rich class, because, it was like these folks that are there, and all of us are grooving and jiving off of the conversation without there needing to be somebody who is leading and somebody who's following, but all of us walking this path and this journey together. So, so I had this thing that I was going to go through lessons, a few of the lessons, because I wanted to kind of backtrack over the lessons and talk. And lesson 31 was one of the lessons that came up for me in that instance. And it was the lesson 31. You guys know it. I am not a victim of the world I see. I am not a victim of the world I see. I am not a victim of the world I see. And so as I started talking about this idea of victimization, it was so many things came up. So today, and so let me flash forward to today, so that I don't tell you and bore you with the whole scenario about what happened in class. It was actually quite juicy and good, but I know it can be rather long. So today, I went out to lunch. I had a lunch date with a girlfriend of mine. And we go to this restaurant, and I don't know how many of you have been to one of those hibachi restaurants, the hibachi grills, where you come in and you sit down, and I thought it was going to be fun. I was thinking to myself, oh, we're going to go in, and she's had rather rough time of, the last few years in her life, and has battled, and she's a good friend of mine. And a lot of times I feel as though I have failed her, because she's such a good friend, but yet she goes through these very dark, dismal times, as if, and I always take it as a personal thing, because I'm thinking to myself, like, I am Miss Happiness itself. And she used to talk about me when we were younger. This is the same one that called me Defiance. But she used to talk about me when we were younger, because she was like, Sandra is the eternal optimist. The glass is always half full, and it's at the top as if it can float. And so the fact that she has, issues, I guess, with seeing the glass half full rather than half empty, is almost something that, I kind of always like struggle with. Like, okay, now what kind of friend am I that I haven't been able to help her reset her thinking? And I sit there and I think that I have um, enough optimism to save the world, to share with the world. And it is true. It is true. It's not something that I can even if I wanted to, I don't know that I could possibly be or think myself into this happy ass state that I'm in. This is me. This is where I'm stuck. And I'm so glad to be here. So anyway, we went to lunch, and we go to this hibachi grill. And Rachel, I'm glad you know exactly what I'm talking about, where they have all these people around the table sharing the grill with you, and then the guy comes out, and he's supposed to be there to entertain you, and he cooks your food at this grill. Now, I will tell you, I absolutely love sushi. Sushi is just sushi. I love sushi. So when I go in, we look at the menu, her and I, and there's other people at the table. We look at the menu, and I ordered what was called a lunch boat, and I knew it had sushi on it, but I just didn't know if it was all sushi or what exactly it included. But I know I was starving and I was ready to eat. And so I know this is a long story and you might not even get this, but it's okay. It's okay because I need to talk about it nonetheless. So the guy and the other people at the table had ordered something else, and they ordered, it seemed like a lot of food to me because they kept ordering over and over again. I'm thinking to myself, what did they order? How much? Like, well, good Lord. Anyway, so they start to, toss around, and they start cooking all this food, and they're cooking all this food. And so far we had only gotten a salad. And okay, so, they're cooking, and they start putting the food on these other folks' table and plates. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, well, hello, are we getting anything over here? And he was like, no, your stuff is coming from the sushi bar. Now, when she ordered the same thing I did, I didn't even think to say to her, do you eat sushi? I didn't think to say that to her. I thought she knew what she was ordering. And so after their meals were complete, this had to be at least 30 minutes from the time we sat down and ordered till the time that their meals were complete. She finally says, I finally said to her, well, I know that mine's is coming from the bar, but I didn't get rice. I didn't get anything. And he was like, oh no, it's all raw. It's coming from, or it's sushi. And so it's all coming from the bar. And then she says, I don't eat sushi. I need to order something else. 30 minutes in now. Lunchtime, don't forget. So they go back there and they cancel hers, but they continue supposedly making mines. 40 minutes later, here they come out with this big sushi boat for me and nothing for her. And she's saying, well, I'm not going to eat. So I look over and I said, what do you mean you're not going to eat? I was like, we have to order you something else so that you can eat. Now, I think it's rude personally for, I've always been taught, Miss Manners, I don't know. I've always been taught if your plate comes out before the other person's plate comes out, either you're going to share some food or you wait for this other person's entree to come as well. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what do you mean you're not going to eat? And so she was just dead set on not eating. We called the manager over to see what we could do about the meal. The manager, oh, sorry for the mistake, and wanted to replace or to get somebody to fix her another meal. No, 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 no. They kept trying to figure out a way of making her happy, but she was simply not having it. And as I sat there thinking, I'm like trying to have a conversation over here on the side with her. I'm not a victim of the world I see, remember? I'm trying to have a conversation over on the side with her and saying, are you sure? They finally said, you know what, if you want something for free, we're perfectly happy because your meal, even though, she ordered the wrong thing, it's still been 40 minutes and it's lunchtime. And so he's like, we're perfectly happy to give you something else. We'll comp you a meal or something like that. We can get another chef at someplace else to fix you another meal, blah, 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 blah. And she was simply not having it. She stood up and she says, I'm leaving. And so the friend that I am, the loyal ass friend that I am, even though I'm hungry, I was like, well, if you're not eating, I'm not eating either. And I stood up too. And I'm standing there trying to talk, trying to say to her, wow, Not okay, yeah, no, not so sushi anymore. But I'm standing there and I'm trying to say they're trying to make you happy. They're trying to accommodate us. No, I didn't eat my boat either. I didn't eat anything. As a matter of fact, it was she was so dead set on walking out the door. It's like, okay, here I go walking out the door with her because now I've been pulled into this thing. We're never upset for the reasons we think we are. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself that not only had I failed my friend, now I've failed the situation because I'm thinking to myself, now should have been able to bring this to a better resolution. And me and all my my happiness and trying to make this a win-win for both the manager and for her and for me, I'm still hungry and I'm not eating. And so I'm standing there and I'm thinking to myself, okay, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. We are not victims here. We are not victims here. This is not the way that this is supposed to turn out. But you know what I ended up having for lunch? Chipotle. I had Chipotle for lunch. A far cry from sushi or hibachi, but I had Chipotle for lunch. And so it was so interesting to me because as I drove away from the place and from the situation, I kept thinking in my mind about the class that I'd had the night before. In the class that I had the night before, there is a woman who comes to class who I simply adore. But it seems as though whatever, there is this thing about taking things personally as you say, I'm eating sushi anyway, right? Yeah, I should have. I wanted it. It was calling my name. It was calling my name. Say my name. But 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 for some reason there are people who take things personally, whether they're personal or not. So let me give you an example. I have another friend, and I don't care what you say to him. He always thinks that you're out to get him. And no matter what, it's as if as soon as he takes the idea that you're out to get him, he lays down uh, like a how you tell somebody to roll over and play dead. I mean, that's what he does. He just kind of like, if you don't knock him out, he'll take your hand, and this is metaphorical. Of course, he doesn't do this, but he'll take your hand and he'll hit himself with it. He'll knock himself out and lay out on the ground as if you just did me so wrong. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I didn't do a thing. I did not do a thing. So sometimes people are so addicted to the idea of people doing them wrong, of mistreating them, of not wanting them to be happy. We people absorb and and take on this idea, this identity so strongly that they can't see beyond their own perception. They can't see beyond their own thoughts. And it becomes this thing of, no matter what they see, no matter what it is that you're trying to show them, because they hold the thought that they do in their consciousness and in their spirit, whether you are victimizing them or not, they still take on the persona as if you are. And so it becomes this thing of how we get to a point where we then break this chain, this mold, this groove, this rut that you people tend to fall in, that says that something is inherently wrong with them. And so everybody else, whoever it is, no matter what they're doing and what they're saying, everybody else is out to get them. I am not a victim of the world I see. And as much as I might be able to say that mantra over and over again. Just because I say it and I've changed my mind doesn't mean that my friend had changed her mind. I wanted it to be so because I'm sitting there and in my mind I'm saying yes, yes, yes to the sushi. I want to eat my food. I was I was in that place and I kept thinking, now they said I was starving. And when they set the plate down in front of me, I was ready to pounce. And then all of a sudden, because she's standing up, I'm thinking like, well, no, if you're not eating, I'm not eating either. Huh. And I guess at management were we saying, here, take that? I mean, I don't I so so we invent thoughts. We invent thoughts in our minds. We make up enemies. We have the illusion that there are enemies out there. And then we have this insatiable desire for these enemies to then beat up on us and overtake us. And then because we're looking at this and we're seeing that, then we get to like say, see, look, nothing ever goes right for me, without taking on the idea that these are simply your feelings. Feelings and emotions are subjective and they can change. I can change my mind. I give meaning to everything I see, right? So if I'm giving everything I see meaning, and if everything I see has all the meaning, the only meaning that it has is the meaning that I give to it, I can withdraw that meaning and I can change my mind about it. Now, in my mind, I'm saying. In my mind, I'm saying, you know what? I want to eat, I want to eat, I want to eat. I kept saying it over and over again. I want to eat, I want to eat, I want to eat. Oh, this is going to work out fine. I was like, okay, this is going to work out fine. This is going to work out fine. I see it coming together just fine. Maybe I got up too soon. Maybe I walked out too soon with it. Maybe I should have stood my ground. Huh. I don't know. That's what Zimmerman said he did, right? Maybe I should have stood my ground and said, I'm not going anywhere because I got sushi sitting here and my sushi is getting warm and I need to eat it now. But the fact of the matter is that, I felt compelled to walk out the door too. And so it becomes this thing all the time where we get to make choices on how we see things. I could see peace instead of this. That's what I said. I could see peace instead of this. And that's what I said. I could see peace instead of this. Remember how many times you've said that to yourself over and over again? I could see peace instead of this. Because I'm not a victim of the world I see. I have invented all this drama in my mind. We invent drama, no matter what it is. We invent it. So, so for me, in that moment, I kept thinking to myself, we have sat here. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't because I knew what I was ordering. I knew what I was about to eat. I knew what I was about to get myself into. But we have a tendency to create this drama. And we create this drama around a vast number of things. And I don't know what your drama may be around. Some of us are holding on tight to relationships that don't work. Some of us are holding on tight to ideas about our financial health, about our career choices, about what we have, what we don't have, about the relationships that we're not in or the relationships we'd like to be in. We hold on to ideas, thoughts, illusions, drama. We hold on to it about ourselves, about our bodies, about how we look, our appearance, about how we talk, about how articulate we are or we are not, about this idea that we've got, a husband or a wife and kids at home. We create all this drama, and it's emotional drama that we create around certain ideas, and we give it power. We give it power and then we make up ideas about it. oh, this is so terrible, I don't want to be here, or what is it that people like to say, oh, they're working me to death and I'm not making enough money, or my wife doesn't appreciate me, or my husband doesn't see all the things that I do, or nobody ever asked me out. I mean, whatever it is, people create all these particular uh, stories that they make up in their minds, the scripts that they read off in their minds, and then they substantiate it with all this other stuff, like they've got evidence to support it. But if you're inventing the world that you see, recognize that what you're thinking may not be the truth at all. What you're thinking may be something that you've made up in your mind because you're addicted to the drama. Your ego needs to see yourself as a victim and somebody else as the victimizer. Your ego has latched on to certain ideas and wants to make them true. So so it becomes this thing of, I can see peace instead of this. I can choose to see this differently. I'd rather be happy than right. Yeah, yeah, I don't know if I'd much rather be the victimizer, but I don't want to be a victim either. I'm neither. I'm just here. I'm just here. I wanted to be a good friend in the moment. And a good friend meant to me that, if she wasn't going to eat, and which is what I said to her. I came out to lunch to go to lunch with my friend. I'm not going to then sit there in front of my friend and enjoy my meal and she's not eating. I mean, to me, that was just like, I don't know. You know, I mean, maybe, yes, you say, screw y'all. I'm eating sushi. Yeah, that's the rule that, and it's not always a rule. I mean, it's not always a rule because Rachel, I have gone out on dates and guys tell me that they're not happy or they're not hungry, and I'm like thinking, I'm gonna eat. You ask me out, I'm eating. As a matter of fact, give me his portion. So, so it's not that it's always a rule, but 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 for that particular situation with my girlfriend, that was, we had gone out. We were both hungry. We were going to get lunch. I was trying to, to spend some happy time with her. And then this. And so, yeah, it was kind of crazy. Yes, it's, and so, yeah, I can't say that it's necessarily a rule, but in that particular situation, for me, that was where I was. So it kind of illustrates to me this thing of being able to change our minds, being able to say that I choose happiness, being able to say that we are all responsible for how we see the world. We're responsible for our thoughts. And so, if you're not a victim of the world that you see, if you're not a victim, and if you have power to choose your thoughts, then why not choose something different? Why not choose peace instead of this? So, if I'm saying to a person that I see God everywhere and I see God in all interactions, I saw God in the waitress, I saw God in the people across from the table from us, in the person making the food, everywhere. And so, no matter what, yeah, it's like, so if God is coming to me to make me happy and saying to me, Sandra, it is my good pleasure to give you what it is you desire, why not ask for that? And I wasn't in a hurry. I wasn't in a hurry. Sure, I wanted to go see my dad. It was lunchtime. I really wanted to go see my dad, but I wasn't in a hurry to do so because my dad wasn't going anywhere. He's laying there in the bed. And so, yeah, it might have been, it was on my mind to go see him. But had we sat there for another 30 minutes and waited for her food to come, that would have been just fine. And so, I typed the word diet and it evoked a picture of ice cream with whipped cream. And you know what? I don't even believe in diets, Pete. I don't believe in diets. I think that diets are, um, uh, it's a plague. It's a plague that people have put on us, and so I believe that. And here's and this is my own thing. I know this is not according to the course, although I know Marianne Williamson did a book about diets and all that stuff. I haven't read it. I haven't read it. But but for me, but for me, here is you say if there is food, I will eat it. Okay, so um, for me, I believe that when you diet, what you do is you're doing this reset with your body. So if your body was perfectly comfortable at 140, you go on a diet to lose 20 pounds. You lose 20 pounds, go down to 120, but then when you gain it back, you go up to 160. And so it seems as though every time you go on a diet, it pushes you that much further up the scale because something happens with your body that you gain back more weight than you were trying to lose in the first place. So I do that with and y'all may not like hearing this from me, but I do that with everything because they say if you cut your hair, if you shave your legs, then your hair on your legs grows back even longer and thicker than it was in the first place. And so then it's like it becomes this thing of we're always trying to like compensate for something that we started doing in the first place. So there's just some things that I refuse to do. Dieting is one of them. It's just against my better judgment. Just against my better judgment. No diet for Sandra. If Sandra needs to lose weight, I may cut out a few things in my eating and I may step up my exercise, but I'm not going on a diet. That's crazy. And it's a $1 billion industry. It's a $1 billion industry. So, um, but those are my thoughts, right? Those are my thoughts. Those are my feelings. It's not everybody's thoughts. It's not everybody's feelings. And some people are so busy all the time choosing something different when they could choose peace. So, how do we get people to choose peace, right? How do we get people to see that they are at cause? They are the causal element in their stuff. They are the center. They are the central person in their own drama. What happens, what tends to happen is that people see and they think that the drama is occurring outside of them. But really, it's nothing outside of them, but rather everything that is within. And so, uh, as much as we might like to push the reset button for others, I know there's only one of us here. And when I'm healed, everything is healed along with me. Trust me, y'all, I was praying about my food because I wanted to eat my food. I was sitting up there saying, Holy Spirit, what do you want me to say? Because I sure didn't want to get up and leave no sushi on the table. Holy Spirit, show me something different here. I was just saying, okay, so I'm just praying, 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 and still we walked out the door without me getting any food. So at the same time, I was still trying to make sure that as a friend, I was being supportive and affirming and trying to understand, but also wanting to say that we create all this drama. So I don't know if I shared with you guys the other day that we have a tendency to hear things not as they're said to us, not as people are, but as we are. We hear no matter what it is, we give everything meaning. We have no neutral thoughts. All of these things, we take ourselves into any situation. And so when somebody says something to us, if somebody, no matter what they say, somebody said to me the other day, "Oh, I wouldn't date a woman that is more than 120 pounds," right? Some folks might have been offended in that situation. Some people might have like taken it personal. For me, it's not personal. All of us get to make our choices, and we give meaning. We give meaning to everything. And when we're hurt, it's as if we have signed up to be hurt. It's as if not this other person didn't hurt our feelings. It's as if we have volunteered to be hurt for whatever reason. You say he's missing out, hey Teddy. Yeah. So I mean, but here's the other thing. He gets to make his choices. I'm not trying to make his choices for him. um Whatever it is that he likes, whatever it is that he desired, I'm thinking, okay, okay, that's fine with me. I felt nothing. But other people in the room, they were just like, as if he had said something that slapped them across their faces. So this idea that his words were an assault on him were crazy to me. In my defenselessness lies my strength, right? In my defenselessness is my safety. If I'm not sitting there with an agenda of my own, if I'm not sitting there thinking about it's supposed to be a particular way, then you have nothing to hurt me with. And so I can't be hurt anyway. And so it becomes this thing of I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm defenseless. I am not trying to defend. I'm not trying to tell him how he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to like, how we should act. I see, and what is this? What is this? What is all of this? Is it based on what's happening in the current moment, or is it based on something that happened before? So getting back to yesterday in class, the lady who was saying the reason why she gets offended about everything or so many things, the reason why she gets offended was based on something that happened with her husband. Her husband is dead and gone, but based on her relationship with her husband, and she was like, oh, he was mentally abusive, and oh, he did this and he did that. And so every time she hears something related to that, then she would get upset all over again. And it's based on the past, right? I see that what she was saying was is I see only the past. And so no matter what you say in the present, it may have nothing to do with me, but based on my experiences in the past, I'm going to bring my past, all of it forward, and put it right here in this moment. And then that is going to be my evidence against you in a court of law that says you have then attacked me because I've been attacked before. And some people who have been attacked before, all they see is attack. That's all they see, and that's all they're going to see, because for them, that attack is real, right? There are no neutral thoughts for them. All of them have meaning, but they have the meaning that they gave them, not necessarily the meaning that's real. So no matter what it is, people come from the perspective wherever they are. So let me tell you guys another quick story. And you know what? There was a story that I started telling you guys the other day. And in the midst of me telling the story, I kind of lost the point of the story. And then I couldn't even finish up with the nice, neat bow with the story because I totally lost what I was trying to say. Yeah, I do that. I don't know why that is, but I do that from time to time. And so this particular story, maybe I should tell you the point of the story and then tell you the story, and then that way I won't lose the point in the midst of it. Okay, I don't even know. I done lost the story altogether. So let me think of another story that I can tell you guys. Um, so it becomes this thing of recognizing that all of us are in this together. And that if we recognize that all of us are in this together, the allness of the situation, the allness and the totality of it. So no matter where you are, no matter who you're who you're talking to, who it is that you think is before you, this person is simply you. This person is you showing up to show yourself who you are more fully. This person was coming to me to show me this very lesson. I am not a victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. That there is another way that I can see this, and I always know this. And for me, it's as simple sometimes as saying the affirmative statements in my mind, because sometimes even without my actively thinking, I'm not a victim of the world I see. Even without that, it's as if out something whispers in my ear this lesson. And that's what's so wonderful about doing the lessons and reading the book and going to classes and saying it over and applying the idea and seeing how the idea fits, seeing that you have no neutral thoughts, seeing that you give all the meaning that it has, saying that, none of this stuff means anything anyway, seeing all of this stuff. So if I'm saying that my holiness, from where I sit, it envelops everything. I'm sitting there and I'm saying, okay, y'all. For me, I'm at peace because I have like so saturated myself in the stuff. I'm so saturated in it. And for me, I'm in peace. Hey, y'all, my holiness, my holiness got ya. you know, so you may think you're standing outside of my holiness, but I got you. And so no matter what you do, it becomes a teaching tool. It becomes a learning lesson. It becomes fodder for discussion later on, because that's what this is all about. We're all here teaching and learning and sharing and growing. And so if I see God in everything, hopefully they will too. But if they don't, let me hold the vision. Let me hold the space. Because if my mind is corrected, yours will be corrected too. And at some point, if you don't get it now, you'll get it later. Maybe she'll be asking, wow, I wonder why Sandra was still like, even as we walked out of there, it's like, wonder about that. How could we have done that different? How can we have seen that different? And so, yeah, it just becomes this thing um, of giving up the thoughts that we could be hurt, giving up the thoughts that somebody is out to give us, giving up the thoughts that lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Yeah, we got to give up those thoughts. And when we give up those thoughts, when we relinquish those thoughts, the world becomes a safer place. Not because anything has changed, but because our minds have changed. Our minds no longer go into attack mode. Our minds no longer choose to see attack everywhere we go. So okay, so here goes with this little story. I'm gonna tell you on this little story because I got a few minutes left. Okay, so I know I talk a lot and I know I tell all my business, but it's okay. So I've got this friend, and I don't know if I told you guys about this before or not. I might have. I got this friend who I spend time with, and where I used to spend time with, and he was always coming over all the time. I got a lot of friends that come over to visit me. I used to. I'm not so much anymore, but come over to visit me, and whether they come over, we go out and hang out, or we come back here. And I love to cook, whether we're cooking or just watching TV or having a wonderful conversation over wine, which is absolutely wonderful too. It's just kind of like the sharing thing. Anyway, so like normal, we always, it's a normal thing for people to do. It's like, yeah, we're just friends, right? Yeah, okay, yeah. She's encouraging me. So yeah, we're just friends, right? And so of course that's all he sees. That's all he's supposed to be, hi, yeah, we're just friends. So at a certain point down the line, when all of a sudden it starts to change, he starts to change. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, we're friends, and yes, it's platonic friends, and because now your mind has changed, mine has not. I am still just being your friend. And so it becomes this thing of now, like, okay, now there's tension and there's disagreement because now he wants to push the issue. And I'm saying, well, no, we were just friends, 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 friends. So as I thought about this story, I would tell people that, I'm a woman in my 40s, and I'm fairly popular and very gregarious and much fun to be around. I'm not telling you guys anything you didn't know. People like being with me. People like spending time with me. Yeah, no benefits, but they just like me. And so, no benefits unless you're talking about me cooking, because I love to cook. I wasn't trying to, have a relations or anything like that. Just had no interest in that. Not because I'm a virgin, but I had no interest in that. So when he started to change his mind, though, I was like, no, 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 not interested. No, you know how that goes. No is no. So when the question comes up, well, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just doing something. It's something to do. Something to do. It's just something to do, right? It's kind of like whatever it is, we all have something to do. So your something to do might be coming into ACMI Gather and listening on the radio. My something to do might be having a friend or two or three friends come over for dinner, sharing wine, whatever. Something to do might go to the lake. You don't necessarily want to do something alone, so you got people that you go with. Something to do. And so when I said this, I shared this little story the other day. And I said, my something to do got mad because he no longer wanted to just be something to do. He wanted to be more than something to do. And so the woman asked me, well, I would have gotten mad too if I found out I was just something to do. Everybody wants to be special, right? Everybody wants to have a special relationship. And who's to say that those special relationships have to turn into any other type of relationship in order for it to be a good teaching and learning ground in the playground where we are? Who's to say that any of this has to be a particular way? Folks, we get to out of all the things that we do, no matter where we go, we get to mold our relationships into what we desire them to be. There is nothing that says that because a man and a woman are friends that it has to end in a certain way or it has to go a certain way. There's nothing to say that because two women are friends or meet one another that it has to go down a particular path. We get to mold, we get to shape the relationships that we have based on what we desire. And if somebody no longer wants to be something to do because they want to do more, then there's no hard feelings to me. There's nothing wrong with it to me, unless, of course, you don't no longer want to be something to do. So as I sat there and I talked, everybody, of course, we all have our judgments about this, especially if you've been somebody's something to do. If you've been somebody's something to do, you might get upset. You might get mad. You might even get angry because you're seeing your past. You're seeing that relationship, that girl that you thought was special all over again, or that guy that you really wanted to be with and he didn't really want to be with you. We get upset based on things that happened in the past rather than saying in the moment, not only am I getting something to do, but they're getting something to do. It's not as if there's nothing there. There's everybody is there. whether it's the wine or the food or the conversation or the movies or the walk at the park, everybody is having something to do. And the problem is that people, we're never upset for the reasons that we think we are. We're upset about something that we thought, and usually it's based on something that happened in the past. So as the night wore on, some of the folks in the class, because even though I'm the teacher in the class, I'm actually the youngest person there at this particular time. And so as the night wore on, a couple of the ladies there whose husbands are no longer in physical form, they started talking. And as they started talking, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to them, and I'm saying, "What? You haven't dated since your husband died?" Now, gone are the days, ladies, that when our husbands die, that we throw ourselves over on the casket and get buried with them. Those days are gone. They are over. And so, if you are still surviving, if you are still here, ladies, get you something to do. Get you something to do. Whatever that may mean, get you something to do. So all of us need us something to do, and all of us need to have, happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice, and you're responsible. You're responsible for your own happiness and how you see things. So, yeah, you know, God loves you. God loves you and wants you to be happy, and will put people and circumstances in your path to make sure that you get to experience the happiness that you deserve. So if your happiness, I know it comes from your one self. There's only one of us out here. There's really not anybody else. And if you can find your happiness by, sharing these moments, I love the way you guys get together in certain arenas, and we just enjoy and partake in this bounty of each other and these feelings and this, all of this stuff. This energy is so wonderful and it's contagious and it's free and it's open and without the assumptions of how it shoulda, coulda, oughta be. So if this is what you enjoy, just find you something to do and enjoy that, be that, and let all the judgments about it go. Okay, so thank you, Robin. Thank you. It's so funny because I get to I get to share all of this stuff, and and here's the other thing. After they were sitting there and they were stressing out about me having a guy that I said was something to do, and them sympathizing with him, and then finally hopefully understanding what I was saying to them about getting something to do. As I was driving home, I'll tell y'all this too. I'm driving home, and I had already made some stuff. I'm eating sweet potatoes now, baking sweet potatoes because they help supposedly with all those, with my power surges, and so I'm eating sweet potatoes, and so I made me a sweet potato before I left the house, and I had some cabbage waiting for me, and all this, my side dish is waiting for me. So I drove in the drive-through at Popeyes because it was Tuesday, and I got my little $1.39 special. Y'all don't judge me. Anyway, I stop in there, and as I'm ordering, I put my order in at the window, and as I put my order in, my phone rings. And as I answer, it's something to do on the phone. And he's asking, "Hey, Sam, want to go to Cheesecake Factory?" And would you believe I'm sitting there and I'm saying, "Wow, I'm in the drive-through, my dinner's ready, and now you call." So Cheesecake Factory maybe later on in the week, you guys. But that's so fattening too. Anyway, something to do is still being done, And I hope you guys all join it. So anyway, thank you so much for letting me share, and hopefully this has given some light on some of the lessons. You are not a victim of the world you see, or any all that stuff. And I'll see you guys next week on Monday. Keep me in your prayers, me and my dad and my family. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, sweet potatoes are supposed to be good for those power surges. Hey, welcome, Veronica. All right, so you guys, love you, and I'll see you next Monday. SandraSaidIt.com is the website, and at Sand Bishop is my Twitter. So at Sand Bishop, you can follow me there, or on Facebook, Sandra D Bishop, and or you can go to facebook.com/Sandra Thrives. Thank you so much. I love y'all, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Oh, wrong button.